Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, A Greener Path. So today's video is going to be slightly different, and I just wanted to talk about a few ways that me and my family are able to live off of one income. So bit of background to me: I have a 2.5-year-old son called Joseph, and I left work when I had him to become a stay-at-home mom, which is something I really wanted to do. We also have a dog who's 8 called Sooty. She has various allergies and has to have a lot of medication, so we have to factor in her. And we also have just had a hamster, which my son has named Charlie. So there's 3 of us and we have 2 pets. And I get a lot of things, and a lot of times people say to me, "Oh, you're so lucky, you can stay at home, we'd never be able to afford to do that, I have to go back to work." So I kind of wanted to make a series of videos to give tips on how I was able to do this. And I think it does go with the frugal, zero waste lifestyle, because with zero waste I think it's all about trying to live intentionally and really think about how you're living and what you're doing. And part of that, I think, leads you almost into a more minimalist, frugal lifestyle in some ways. So I think the two do go hand in hand. So the first thing I wanted to talk today was about budgeting, which is pretty boring. I know everyone sighs, "I don't want to do a budget." I don't know anyone that realistically does a budget. I love doing budgets. I do budgets all the time. I just do it on pen and paper. It helps us keep track of our finances. But the thing I have to say is it has to be realistic. So if you know you fill up your car 3 or 4 times a month, you have to put all that down. I know that our dog has veterinary bills each month for her allergy tablets, and then her food, and then her dentist type things for her teeth. Now we've got to factor in our hamster and her bills, our son's nursery, because he goes to nursery 3 days now a week, which he absolutely loves. I will have to factor that in, as well as those other groups he may attend. So you have to factor everything in. Now, if you've not done a budget before, I would recommend for 2 months, go back through all your statements and see what you're spending and where you're spending it. And a lot of people say in your budget, write down the exact amounts, tell every penny where it needs to go. I don't do that. I like to round up amounts. So for example, if I know all our bills come to, I'm just giving random figures here, £99, I would round those up to £100. If I know my son's nursery fees come to £60, I would round it up. So there's always a bit of wiggle room, because sometimes, you know, things can go up, especially if you have something like Sky or internet, phones. Sometimes, you know, they'll send you a letter saying they're putting it up by X amount this month. So that way it allows you to have a bit of wiggle room if those things do happen. So I would say overestimate everything, then you definitely know everything's covered. One thing that we do is a bit like the Dave Ramsey envelope system, but we do it with accounts, is we have accounts for, kind of like holding accounts for certain things we need that month. So when my husband gets paid, we have a certain amount of money that will go into an account where our bills come out of. We'll have a certain amount of money that goes into an account where we pay for all our animal care. And then we have money going to a certain account that pays for my son's nursery fees. We have money that goes into an account that will pay for our car. So we do it that way. So we know that that money's in its correct pot. It's designated. We don't have to worry about it. If we overspent 1 month on, I don't know, eating out, or we spent a bit more on food, and then we think, "Oh sugar, what about this phone bill?" It doesn't matter, it's covered, it's in a different account, the money's there for it. So we have just then what's left is what we can spend for that month on food, eating out, day trips, etc. And I find that's the best way to do it. So many people I know just have everything coming out of one account. They're spending. At the end of the month, they have 3 bills they've forgotten about, and they have no money to pay for them. So just have those. I mean, it could be, for example, our car one is actually a savings account that we just transfer money into, because We like to pay for all my husband's car stuff for the whole year because it works out cheaper. So we will pay for a service, for our MOT, and for his insurance for the year because it costs you less. So all through the year, January to December, we will save money each month in that account, and then at the end of the year, because most of his bills, it's around January, February time that we have to pay for the car insurance, etc. The money's there to pay for, and that covers us for if then also, like, say halfway through the year, like recently he got a puncture and needed a new tyre, so we could pay for it. We didn't have to worry about where that money was going to come from because each month, each year, that we just roll that money on. So last year we used about 3/4 of that money, and then the rest of it just rolled through onto this year and so forth. And same with the dog, so we'll allocate a set amount into her account for the pets, and then at the end of the month, if there's still money in there, that'll just roll over to the following month. And then if anything does happen, like she needs a checkup at the vet, we've got extra money in there to cover that. So that would be a great tip. So you really need to fine tune your budget and be realistic. There is no point saying I'm never going to go out for a meal if the one thing you love doing is going out for a meal. So be realistic and set yourself an amount for that each month. If you love going and buying clothes, which doesn't fit into zero waste, but if you like going to the charity shop and buying bargains, allocate yourself a certain amount of money that month. As long as you can afford it, allocate it. If you can't afford it, you're going to have to cut it out, unfortunately. For example, we love buying films, we love watching DVDs. That was probably where most of our spare money went before we had our son, but we can't afford it now. So if there's films and DVDs we want, we'll ask for them for birthdays or for Christmas. Or if we know there's something upcoming we really want, we may save for it and we will get it. We won't just go out and buy every new DVD that comes out that week, because realistically we know we can't afford to do that. So you have to fit things in within your budget that you know you can afford. And I think that's why people don't like budgets, because they come to the realisation they can't afford to do the things they want to do, and it hits them and they think, ugh. But you can't think about living on one income. You can't think about maybe reducing your hours at work to spend more time at home if you're not going to do the budget. That's the first step. If you're not willing to do that, you can't realistically do the rest. So my main advice, if you want to be a stay-at-home parent or you want to reduce your work hours, say you don't want to be a stay-at-home mom, say if you've got a passion, a little business on the side and you'd love to devote more time to it, then you're going to have to budget and work out all your money, and that is the only way you're going to be able to reach the financial goals that you want to reach. So each Friday I'm going to do another thing that me and my family do to help us live on one budget, but the main thing we do is budget income. So the main thing we do is we make sure we do a budget, and each month we revise that budget. We swap and change things. So recently we cancelled Sky because we found we wasn't watching it. We was just watching Netflix. So we cancelled Sky and we just got broadband now. So we adjusted our budget for that, and we decided for this month, for something different, we were just going to take out Amazon for a month. So we've watched loads of shows on Amazon and films, and then we'll cancel that. And then occasionally we'll do that and get maybe Now TV for a couple of months and watch all the shows on there. And we'll sometimes rotate them through. So we'll have Netflix for 3 months, and then we'll cancel that and have Amazon for 3 months. We'll cancel that. It's kind of irrelevant to what I'm talking about. But so we will budget in those kinds of things. So that's what I'm saying. You need to have the budget done each week because it needs to be a fluid thing. It needs to be forever changing. You can't do one budget and it'll still apply 6 months later. You have to keep adjusting and setting and moving the goalposts. So if you want to see me talk about anything specific on this subject, please let me know. I'm very passionate about saving, about budgeting, about being frugal. So this is just the first one, and I hope you look forward to more. Bye!